Hey YouTube, how you guys doing? My name is Kyle, you know me as Dragonmar, and welcome to a new video. Today we'll be covering callouts. We're going to be getting in depth about what they are, why they're important, and most importantly, how to make them. So I'll be giving you guys some in-game examples, showing you situations where they should be used, and teaching you the do's and don'ts of callouts. You guys want to sound like a pro? Well, you're in the right place. I hope you enjoy. And as always, guys, remember, if you do enjoy these guides and this content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and of course, leave a like on the video. First things first, what is a callout? Well, a callout is a short phrase, sentence, or sometimes even just a single word that's used to describe very specific, very important information to aid one's team or to aid someone's awareness of the current game situation. So callouts are meant to be really specific, guys, and you should always design and make sure what you're saying is quick and to the point. The longer you take to complete your callout, so essentially to get the information across to your teammate in sort of whatever way you're saying it, the less they're going to be able to hear in game, and also the longer they have to wait to gain that valuable information. So you're probably asking, why is this important? Why are callouts so important? Well, your teammates may not always be aware of everything happening during a round. Just try to think of all the things that happen in a round that you're the only person around that can actually hear. So things like enemies being rezzed, certain abilities being used or placed or even picked up, the bomb may have been dropped. There's a number of things that can happen that your team just won't be able to know. So if you could think about an enemy taking control of a bomb site, for example, on attack, well, what happens if they forget that bomb? You end up finding it. What should you do? Well, of course, in that situation, you need to make the call to your team not to retake the site. You just let them know, hey, the bomb's back here. Don't worry, let's protect this bomb. They can have the site. That's easy, right? You have to make the right call there. So callouts are crucial because having a well-informed team, in this case, having everyone aware that the bomb is not actually with the attackers, is crucial so that every single player on your team is operating on the same set of information. That's when you have those great games. That's when your team is all working together with the same info and everyone's nice and cohesive. It's normally because callouts are being made. So you want to be on the same page at all times, and callouts, of course, allow that. How to make callouts? Well, now we could actually start talking about what callouts really are and what they look like, sort of the do's and the don'ts of making callouts, and also some examples from in my own ranked games as well. So there's really three very specific rules, very clear rules too, that you need to follow. Rule number one is to keep it short and sweet. Rule number two is to be clear and concise. And rule number three is to make sure they are well timed. Rule number one is to keep your callouts short and sweet. And what that means is that your callouts should never sort of devolve into these long, drawn-out sentences or paragraphs, or, where it sounds like someone's trying to write a novel, or also situations where people just kind of are talking off of whatever pops into their head. So they just kind of keep running on and on and on. That's a bad example of a callout. Instead, short and sweet means you're just saying things that are important and that's it. You don't have to use proper grammar. I mean, you literally can say like 1 to 2 words. It doesn't really have to make a lot of sense grammatically, as long as it makes sense to your team and to the situation. So in a situation where you want to make a callout, let's say something like, you want to call that Reyna is on like a short or something, and she has low health because she's been hit. You could say Reyna is on short, half health, right? The other option there would be to sort of, the wrong way to do that is when you take too long to say the same information. So you'd be like, hey guys, there's a Reyna on short, she has like half health. I shot her like 3 times or something with my Vandal. Like that, there's no point to add all the extra stuff. So, if you say Reyna short, half health, boom, done, quick, nice and easy, short and sweet. Rule number two is to be clear and concise. So you have to be very, very specific and very clear in what you are saying. So since you're trying to also follow rule number one, of course, which is short and sweet, you have to actually kind of think about what you're saying, because you don't want to just run on forever because you're realizing things you should have said. That's bad. Once you speak in game, quick and then be done. That's it. You shouldn't keep talking during the round unless there's something else important to say. So how this sort of works is you kind of want to have normally like the enemy's agent name, location, health. Those are kind of like what make great callouts. Those are like the core, the name, the location, and the health. You can also add on something like the weapon they have. For example, if someone's opping, sometimes it's really important to call that out. Or also sometimes just a specific location is another great example of being clear and concise. So if someone is, let's say, on Heaven in Split, you could be like, hey, there is, a raise in Heaven. Boom, that's it. Just so your team is aware where someone is playing. Keeping it clear and concise really is probably even more important than short and sweet, because you want to make sure what you're saying actually makes sense. Rule number 3 is to make sure your callouts are well timed. So timing, once again, finding its way into my videos, but this time it's more of like a courtesy, I guess. But either way, if your teammate is in the middle of an intense clutch and he needs to listen for footsteps, why are you yelling into the mic? Why are you trying to make calls that aren't important? You need to be very careful about this, because this is something even I struggle with when I want to make a call that I know is going to help, but I know it might also be a detriment to my teammate. So this is something that can be difficult. But in most cases, you want to let your teammates play. So you need to make sure that if you are going to say something, it's extremely quick. Specifically is what I'm trying to say, in clutches, saying things like, if someone has low ammo, I think that's a generally agreed upon okay thing to do. You can say something like, hey, like just really quick, you can just say something like 4 bullets. That's fine. That way they know exactly how many bullets they have left, and if they want to reload, they can. If they don't have to. Or if they have an ultimate and you think it's really important, they know maybe for some reason they're playing it in a way where you think they don't realize it, you just be like, hey, you can say something like, have ult. Just super quick, like 2 words, like boom, you're done, you're in, you're out. They can listen to the game, they can play for their clutches. Up next, guys, I want to just play a bunch of clips from my ranked game, and I just want you guys to listen to the callouts that are being made. Think about what I just said. Think if these are good, bad, what can be improved if you make your callouts like this. I just want you to hear what callouts sound like at roughly the diamond level. In this game, I think I was actually plat 3, but I'm obviously diamond 3 now, so times have changed. But nonetheless, take a listen.
Doesn't look like any window.
Good shot. We're outside too.
One window. Outside.
Open up
Might be
the
lost.
sky!
Just
will
one
not
to assault,
get out
bro.
of my way.
That's outside too. He's in the window.
RC.
One mid.
Yeah, 2 long. 1 long. One
One on
mid
B.
A. 1A long.
One's mid still.
Yeah,
One's on
one
B,
mid,
one's on B, I
one
think. Might have backed out.
Rushing me, I think.
long. A looks clear.
You have shotties? Give me one of them. I think I hit him.
Could be in window. Could be in window.
One's on B, CT.
Enemy spotted.
Probably pushing.
Can
A.
smoke right side if we want to just plant B.
A push. I think he's pushing A. Fast pushing A, I think.
Oh, they fucking walled.
Smoke's down.
Oh, one cross, one cross.
Oh,
90, man. 90 and window.
1 mid. 1 pushing through long.
Our carrier's down.
Headshotted, watch out, short.
I'm blind.
Close right.
Down you go.
Yeah.
They're super dead.
Cypher was
More.
still
Only one
On the
A.
wall.
No one A. There's no one A. No one A.
Yeah, Omen is.
Got spike.
No, Omen just killed a mid.
Yeah, I guess he like a TP or something.
And as you guys just heard there was a good mix of location callouts, of purposeful callouts, of pushes, definitely a lot of positioning, some weapons, some health, and definitely a lot of agent names as well. Hope that was a little bit helpful and gave you guys some insight into how the callouts get made at games around my level. And we're not stopping there. I want to give some examples of helpful callouts for enemy information. So when you need to call out something about an enemy specifically, there are generally about 3 to maybe 5 things you're going to want to say. you always pretty much want to say the enemy agent's name. That way people know, you know, what character model to look for in certain situations and what to expect, you know, depending on who that player is on the team, how well they're doing, things like that. You want to say things like the location, health, the weapon, and the reason / the purpose. So in some cases, it actually makes sense to say, hey, you know, there is a Sage pushing showers. In that specific situation, you gave the name, the location, and a purpose or a reason. They're pushing showers. That's why you're telling your team that. You also have things like saying Phoenix, mid-steps, half health, pushing. Another example of calling out an enemy, you know, giving a little more information there with their health as well. Another example, you could call Reyna in hell opping. That's a good call because in this case, you're telling your team to expect an op, so a very powerful weapon. It's going to make them play differently, so it's good that they know where that op is. Another example, you could say something like Brim B main with ult. That way they know this Brim is playing in a certain spot with his ult, probably for a reason in this case. If you make this call, generally he's playing a post plant and he has ult, so you're just letting your team know, hey, you have to kill this guy because he's just going to ult you if you try to defuse the bomb. And finally, you could say something like Sage 10 health, garage with a shorty. So in this case, you're warning your team, she's 10 health, so you probably ended up dying to her. And you're just kind of letting your team know, hey, there's someone playing in a very dangerous position with a dangerous gun up close, like the shorty. And in that case, you're giving them all the necessary information. All of the examples I just gave you were about 6 words or less. I think that really helps illustrate just how quick and concise you need to be. And at the same time, with rule number 3, right, being well-timed, don't say this stuff when people are trying to listen. It's really important that you kind of know and you get a feel for when to make these callouts. However, the only way to do that is to keep trying, and you're going to make mistakes, you're going to piss people off, but at the end of the day, you just got to keep going. Alright guys, I think this is a good spot to end the guide on callouts for Valorant. I think you guys are already sounding like a pro just from listening to this video. Please remember that you have to practice this stuff. Make sure you're familiar with the maps and all the agents' abilities and, you know, the agents in general, weapons. That stuff is really important to be able to make callouts. You want to increase your overall game sense, obviously, so just play the game as often as you can. But one really cool thing about callouts is that if you actually listen to streamers in general, really good streamers, they make really good callouts. So that's something you could definitely do here that can help increase the rate at which you get better at callouts in general. It's really, really important once you hit those higher ranks to make good calls. So I hope this video helped. As always, guys, if it did, remember to leave a like on the video. It really, really helps me out. Obviously, subscribe for more if you like this kind of content. More guides coming your way soon. Take it easy and peace.